I thought it was quite enjoyable, especially given the naysaying leading into the match by the media and also by people that I was talking to in the rugby circles, who were kind of writing the All Blacks off.
In
Big
our
Um,
group chat.
time.
even
And in our group
even
chat.
and in our group chat, and even before the Argentina game, right? And
Right.
then the All Blacks come and do a 41-12 scoreline on Argentina, leading into this match. Go ahead, Rich.
But based on what? What is it that people are still? Is there a hangover from last season,
Well,
or is it is it more because of Foster still being in charge? Because they say Foster gets the hammering when we lose. Foster gets the hammering when apparently we don't have a game plan. Yet we get a good result like that, and they say, "Oh, it must be the assistants. Joe Smith, it's Jason Ryan."
that's my
But
point.
how when is Foster going to get the credit for if Foster wins the World Cup? It's not Foster.
It's not to me.
It's not. But why?
He's been coach for 4 years, and now, finally, we're seeing the All Blacks turn a corner. What's changed in recent times? In the last 9 months-ish,
But do you give
Joe Schmidt
Foster
and Jason Ryan have
do you
come on
give
board.
Foster any
And
credit
now
for
they're
the World
embedding
Cups
their
that was?
ideas.
Do you give Foster
And
any
we're seeing the
credit
fruits of that.
for the World Cup that was won in 2015? He was an assistant. No, we give the credit to a lot of it to the coach, right?
Well, it's not that I don't give him the credit. Well, maybe I don't give him the credit.
You
But I
don't.
give him a lot of the
Like
blame. He's been the
everyone
coach
else
for
that wants him
4
out.
years. He's been the coach for 4 years. And we've seen 3 years of garbage. So I give him the blame for their 3 years of garbage. We've seen them turn it around recently. But I think Joe Schmidt and Jason Ryan deserve a lot of the credit. They came on board
Absolutely,
9 months ago.
absolutely. I
And
wouldn't
their
discard
ideas are
that.
starting to bear fruit.
I wouldn't discard that at all. But I think it's a collective effort from all the coaches, as well as similar to Graham Henry would be the last person to say all the credit was his when he won the World Cup. Steve Hansen would be the same. They wouldn't necessarily. They'd say it's the personnel that they have with them. So of course Schmidt and Ryan have a part to play. Scott McLeod even, but you got the head coach, and he doesn't seem to have the favour of the nation, which I understand because of his. It's been bandied on and on and on about his record with his Super Rugby record as a coach, his NPC record as a coach, and then what
There's
gives
this whole
him.
coaching record as a head coach.
Yeah, I totally understand, but his win ratio as a head coach of the All Blacks is slowly climbing now. It's going to be in the 70s, and mark my words, by the end of the Rugby World Cup, it'll be well into the 70s, and he will not. If it's going to be based on his win ratio as the worst coach of the All Blacks ever, I don't think that's going to be the case, because his win rate ratio, and then with a World Cup win to boot, can you still put him down as the worst All Blacks coach in the world? That's what he's got to look forward to try and get a World Cup now, and then flip the bird at the rest of the New Zealand. Will you then support him? Is that...
No, I think if a coach has 4 years in charge, and his 3 years, first 3 years are Gaia, and then in the fourth year he turns it around, you try to think to yourself, what changed in that fourth year? Did he suddenly become a great coach after 3 years of garbage, or did something change? And what changed was he got 2 great assistants. So I give the assistants more credit because they weren't part of the 3 years of garbage. They were part of the 1 year turnaround.
Don't you give that
So
credit to the head coach as well, because the assistants have been coming?
I give him the blame for the first 3 years.
But he'll be part of the selection process of getting these assistants in as well. So was it the assistants' fault from prior then? Do they, the ones that got ousted, do they then fork the blame?
Well, what happened was they wanted to get rid of them before. I think they wanted to get rid of them before. So they did a review after years of garbage, and they thought that Foster was okay, but the assistants were garbage. But Foster didn't want to get rid of those assistants, so he kept them on for longer than they should have been in the job. And that's poor management on his part.
What we're failing to see, though, is that international opposition, has improved. Can you say that? Are you saying it's because of a woeful All Blacks that we lost to Ireland, that we lost the first series to Ireland? Is it a woeful All Blacks team because, or woeful coaching because we didn't win a British and Irish Lions series in 2017, was it?
I think that it's a continuation of bad ideas. So he was an assistant coach to Hansen, And Hansen, towards the end of his tenure, he struggled to beat the rush defence. And we're seeing that play out again. He's not bringing anything new. He's recycling old ideas that worked in the late 2010s.
So when we had this conversation
That's yesterday's game.
This time or at the end of next year, when we have a review of what Razor's done and he has a few losses to his name, will you then be able to speak analytically about what Razor has brought to? Because apparently he's going to be the savior, he's going to be remarkable, invincible, and going to have a win, a loss, no losses in his tenure to come.
No.
Because he's
more than one thing can be true. So the opposition and the other teams around the world can improve. That's true. But the All Blacks can also regress. That's also true. And that's the part that Foster's responsible for. Anyway, this is Joey's time to have a say. Rod, stop sidetracking these conversations. Sorry, Joey.
Carry on, Joey.
Carry on.
Oh, the match on the weekend against the Boca was nice. It's always nice to be on the right end. Well, we call it the right end of the results board, and to get that W against a formidable team like our old foe, the South Africans, is always nice. I put it down to a few things. The conditions were the exact same conditions in my eyes, bar the stadium, as the Albany 57-0 drubbing that the South Africans got when what's her name, Nehemilna Scudder was still playing.
Yep.
I was there at the stadium that night, and it was nice to watch and be a part of on that cold, crispy night. I think, given the fact that this is World Cup year, this is a nice way for the All Blacks to place one hand on the championship trophy, right? I think it's also good for the coaches to see who in this particular squad they will have their eye on to take on World Cup honours. And I think from the squad we can already see some standouts in terms of, I want to see that guy there and that guy there and that guy there. It's funny you guys bring up Akira Ioane and his poor showing in the semi-finals against the Crusaders. Just on that, I think the Blues have been consistent, so you've got to hand that to them, in that they are consistently bringing their worst game to the finals against the Crusaders consistently. Yes. So they played very well into the lead up to that particular game, and it was really sad as a Blues fan to see that they just faltered once again against the Crusaders.
West, y'all.